Hey there, happy. Welcome to day 1647 of What Shipped You Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting the journey, business journey primarily, as I've transitioned from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business and back and forth again. I love business. I've always loved business. I got that business and entrepreneurial bug from my father, who also worked in corporate America for his career. He worked for his entire career, and I guess after he retired, he continued to have businesses. But simultaneously, from the time we were little girls, my sisters and I, he had businesses on the side of his corporate job. And I loved my dad, looked up to him, and followed in the same footsteps. Got my first job in corporate America. I worked in 3 other corporations as well as a bunch of different businesses, and had my own businesses from the time I was 13 on. But when I graduated from college, I started working for big corporations in corporate America, and I switched industries a few times and learned a lot about that and the impact and power of that. Because a lot of times, I grew up in the era when I still believed, which was a total false belief, even at the time I grew up and was going to college, that you would do well in school, work hard, go to college, do a good job in college, get a good job with a corporation, and work for that corporation your entire career. And even when I joined the first corporation I joined in following college, a lot, and the vast majority of people that worked at that company were career-minded and spent their whole career working within that organization, within that corporation. It's one of the biggest corporations in the world. And I stayed there about 5 years, and then I moved on because I realized that by moving on, instead of getting an inflation type raise every year, I could actually triple my income. And so it didn't take me too long. Actually, the first time I did it, it taught me that great lesson. And I was like, okay, well, that's what I need to do then for my career, for my corporate career, while I was still, and that's also the time I really got involved in having my own first big business on the side. Not a little one, a big one, with a partner. And then later on, my sister became my co-owner of a business that we grew and had for 35 years. I bought her out in 2004, but it was for a long time. So I love business. It's very fun and intriguing to me. Always something different, always something new, always interesting. But today, like every day for this year for sure, I'm creating 2 pieces of content. One is our annual challenge. I've done lots and lots of challenges throughout my life, and even online I've done lots of challenges by anyone's measure these days. But this year our annual challenge is to be ourselves, to do one thing every day that improves us or continually improves us. And we're talking about the area of contribution this month. If you look at the life framework, I've got a little framework here. It's very messy, but there's different areas and aspects of our life. And I use a 9-part life framework: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution, which I learned from Tony Robbins in probably the 80s, probably the 1980s. I don't remember, but it's been decades now. And then last year, I was involved with a coaching program that focused on core skills of like communication, confidence, and things like that. And I thought, well, I'm going to add those to my personal life framework because they are basic skills that interact and impact every other area and aspect of our life. So today we talked about on the challenge, how does contribution interact with all these different areas of the life framework? And what do they mean to us? And we're just sharing one aha that we have by thinking about those interactions today. Because I don't know about you, but in the past, I really have not thought about all of the interactions and ways that the different areas and aspects of our life influence one another. I think during the pandemic and during last year, I did start to consider those things. But now I am taking a day a month to actually think about, as I go about my day, what does the contribution area of my life have to do with my physical well-being? What does the contribution area of my life and contribution and how I show up in the world have to do with my spiritual, emotional, relationships, financial? What does contribution have to do with contribution area of my life with respect to growing and building and creating the life that I want? How about communication and confidence? Just confidence. If I have more confidence, will that impact how I contribute, how I show up in the world? I think so. If I have better communication skills and I feel better and more confident in my communication, will that influence how I contribute and show up in the world and make the world a better place? Again, I say a resounding yes. So that was our topic for our annual challenge today. And I also shared a card about loving life and about what you give out is what you give back. So I want people to know that the stuff I say and believe, I didn't make it up. I just kind of discovered it and uncovered it and said, yeah, that feels right to me. I believe that. I'm going to adopt that belief. And I'm going to use that belief to replace some of these crazy beliefs that I grew up with and have just been following that make absolutely no sense for me as an adult. Maybe they made sense when I was a kid, but they probably don't make sense for me as a 60-plus-year-old woman. So, our idiom for supersize your business today was from the bottom of your heart, or the bottom of my heart. And I love this idiom and expression. It's in my granddaughter's favorite movie right now, which is Duck, Duck, Goose. And there's a duck in there that says Pang, named Pang, a goose in there named Pang. And he is trying to convince two little ducklings that they should walk with him to the haven because he's broken his wing, being kind of a jerk. It's a great movie that shows the hero's two journeys, and it's structured perfectly like we should tell our stories. So I am looking for that in things that I consume and watch. And so as I watch this movie, I'm like, oh, look at this, hero's two journeys. And here's how he transforms from the beginning to the end of the movie. Here's his physical journey, is walking to the haven, but the transformation is he's a real jerk in the beginning, and then he helps these ducklings originally just for selfish reasons, but as they're going about the trials and tribulations on the trail, he learns that he really loves and wants to help and support them. He saves them from becoming duck food in a Chinese restaurant, and then ends up, they have to then support and help him get to the haven. And then it's just a really great little story. But he says he's doing something from the bottom of his heart, but he really means it in a negative way. And the little boy duck Chow says he's doing it from the heart of his bottom to convince his sister that they should go along with him, and they do. But that's one of the reasons I love this idiom, this expression. And I'd love to know if you've had experience with it, if you've used it. I have learned over the decades that the things I do that really feel right to me and are really from the bottom of my heart are the things I want to continue to do and create in my life. I want to do things that make me feel good. And we all do. We all want to do things that make us feel good, right? Surprise. Because that's how we create the life we love, the life we want, the life we're grateful for. If I can help you in any way, hit me up and ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. I got a gazillion things I want to do today, so I'm going to say bye. I hope from the bottom of my heart that you have an amazing day.